I've known Vinny here for a long time.
That got to do with my gray hair?
Yeah. I would have been probably 20 when I met him.
I don't know.
I don't know. It just sounded good. But anyway, he is from U-Pole, which is the makers of the Raptor bed liner that we sell an awful lot of. He'll go through most of it. Of course, you know me, I won't let him do all the talking because I just can't help it. So just listen to what he's got to say. We're going to go back to the shop. I've got, just going to look kind of strange, I got 2 rolling front ends in the paint booth that are covered in collision wrap. And y'all are going to spray those things with bed liner. And I put the collision wrap on there so I can peel it off and throw it away. So y'all just spray to your heart's content. I also have a bunch of metal panels that y'all all beat and banged on once before that are already epoxy primed, and you're more than welcome to take those in after we do the front ends, spray those, put your name on it, you can keep it, you can take it home, throw it away, it's totally up to you. We'll be spraying 2 different colors. I think, what'd you come up with, a blue and a black?
We got a very nice looking light blue.
Okay. Mr. Vinny, step up.
I'm ready. Well, first, I love the group we've got tonight. It's going to be loud and exciting. I'm going to go through our line somewhat quickly. Any questions you have, just throw your hand up. I'm not, no protocol here. If you got a question, I'd rather hear it. Because if you got a question, 3 other people got a question, and they just don't want to ask it. So if you, don't be afraid. They're up there, nothing's going to affect me. I'm a sales rep, and I've been doing this for the better part of some 47 years. So
67
I've been
years.
beat up a lot. It's okay.
67 years.
What we always start with is safety. We are going to be spraying an isocyanate mixture in Raptor. So whoever's going in that booth, Larry said he had respirators. You're going to need to have
I do want to ask, I said in the last class, all of y'all that got respirators before, bring them with you. How many of you brought them? I see. Oh, wow. We got a couple. All right.
Hey, look at you guys.
That's awesome. For you who don't, we do have respirators back there. Okay.
So we have, he's got gloves.
There's gloves, respirators, mandatory. Please.
In real life, we're going to be doing a little bit of outside the lines tonight, but goggles. You can't replace certain parts of you when they're gone. So take care of yourselves. It's as far as we do. So safety comes first in what we're going to be doing tonight, and what you do every day, wherever you're part of. So we go. Raptor. U-Pole's Raptor is the #1 spray. We call it protective coating because calling it a bed liner is really selling it completely short. In the U.S., every other vehicle's a truck, right? Pick up somewhere along the line. But you go to England, like I went to the U.K. and I've been to other countries, they don't have they have no pickups. I mean, you just don't see them out there. So the coatings are used on exteriors, on pieces of furniture and equipment. So, the expansion of this line is astronomical. These are 4 segments of lines that we deal with. You should have gotten literature. If not, there's some more back there I saw on our marine division. And we do construction, industrial, which is your larger trucks, and of course the automotive market. So these kind of things that we have with our protective coating called Raptor. Being the biggest is not the most important. We started in 2005 when it was launched. It is now the #1 bed liner in the world. That and 50 cents will buy you a cup of coffee. The product has to perform, which is why it got to that state. We've added to it different flavors along the way up until 2025. We just introduced a new epoxy. We'll go over some of these processes as we go. As Larry said, we've got pieces back there for you to spray and touch and keep if you want, but trust me, you're not taking it with you tonight. Well, you could take it with you tonight, but you're going to probably get it all over yourself, so we'll just deal with it another time. Raptor does take some time to cure. We make it in a lot of versions of product, right up to 55-gallon drums. I don't know if any of you have ever been down to Six Flags in Atlanta. Hands? Anybody? I can promise you, if you've been there, you've touched, sat on, looked at, and been around Raptor, because that park is covered in it. The rides, the walls, the Johnny Rockets burger place, just multitudes of things that we do with Raptor. We talk about it being customizable because we make a tintable and a black and white. So our factory packs are black and white. I get a lot of questions from people, can I tint the tintable black? First of all, why not just buy it black? But you can do it, but the problem is, and I'll show you this maybe back there, I don't have it to show here, but the Raptor itself looks very opaque. So it's kind of like a white when you look in the can. So if I add black to it, white and black make gray. So we're not going to have a jet coating. It's another reason why we don't flatten it, because people always say, can I flatten this product? No. But we can make it any other color. And thanks to 3M, we can now spray colors we could not spray before. Talk about that in a minute. The durability of the product really is what's kept it where it is. You know, we've had, like, again, going back to Six Flags, they've had the product on roofs of their buildings and the color is not faded. It has a high UV concentration in it because it's a urethane-based product. That's why we can do that. If you're familiar with Rhino or Linux, yes.
I've been using that since 2005. And some of the earlier stuff I did faded horribly.
Again, that may have been the originals. I've only been with the company for 8 years.
Okay.
So everything I've touched and looked at is got the high UV in it. So, you know, obviously if it was tinted, it could be the tint. I don't know if it was just straight black.
It was black, it kind of turned milky after a while.
It could have been an enhancement. It was made after the fact. Because originally, you know, we packaged the kits most of the kits, 4 bottles of this, which is 28 ounces, a 32-ounce activator, which yields a total of 1 gallon. So in just working with the numbers on it, they could have added to the activator, because we used to put the red label activator in there, which is still what's part of it. So I don't know, to answer your question. It's possible. But since I've been around, they haven't changed it, and we've had great luck with fade. It's 100% waterproof once it's gone through a 72-hour cure period. And that's everything we tell you is built on 70 degrees, 68 to 70 degrees. So obviously if it's 95 outside, it's going to be a quicker cure process. But we say 72 hours, then you could submerge it underwater permanently without worrying about it. Before that, it has a sensitivity to moisture. And I'll show you a picture of that here coming up. It's a great sound deadener. Larry's got an example of one of the things we do a lot with Raptor, and that's the tubs of restoration jobs. You know, if you've ever done a restoration job, the floorboards rot out and they always have to be replaced. And adding a coating of Raptor will sound deaden it as well as waterproof it and keep you that protection. You had a question?
Yeah, what about heat?
It can handle, it's rated to handle 220 degrees.
Okay.
So if we say 220, you might get it up to 280, but you're not going north of that. So it is not something you're going to put on something that's going to generate a lot of heat.
So I wouldn't want to use it. So I work in like truck delivery, semi-trucks. So I work for semi-trucks.
Okay.
So I'm thinking like under hood, like a peak, it's a sheet metal hood.
Oh, it'll be fine for that. That's not going to get, it's not going to hit that temperature and stay that way for long periods of time, I would say. So I would have a problem doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about using it
not
on
at
something
all.
like that. I've used it on the bottom of cars, inside wheel wells, and even where the exhaust is fairly close to it, and never had any type of a trouble.
It can handle that without a problem. The resistance to chemicals is probably one of the big usages of this product. Animal urine, I know it sounds kind of creepy, but it's a highly toxic thing. So in some parts of the country, we actually do the beds of animal haulers, the big rigs that they take out, because it doesn't rot them. We're spec'd with American, United, Delta Airlines, because they use a product called Skydraw. I don't know if anybody in here knows what that is. Skydraw is a non-flammable hydraulic fluid that's basically paint stripper. And, we lasted 24 hours full submersion, which when we first heard, we thought was going to fail. It was a failure. I mean, 24 hours is really, in our world, is nothing. But they were excited about it because nothing even lasted a couple hours. So we do a lot of the tugs, anything that doesn't fly. We don't have any FAA approvals on it. So we have it on all the tugs in those airports. Hydraulics, salt water, etc. We have specs on them. If you ever run into a situation where you need to do a job and you want to know if we've run that specific test, you can get a hold of Larry, he'll get a hold of me, I'll call the UK. We'll find out if we've ever run that test. Some tests are very narrow and we just don't run them all because they're expensive. But we have run many of them, so we understand what the product's capability is. It is available in 1-quart kits. The 4-quart kit is far and away the most popular thing we sell. We have added a 0.75 gallon that would go on a mixing bank. It would go in any shop, and you could actually mix incremental portions of Raptor.
I think y'all have that at your shop.
That's what you guys that's the shop I went to, I think, is your place. So what the benefit of that is you need to have these kinds of setups because it doesn't come with a cup. The standard application is to thread the gun on this can and spray. I've only done one job with that because I'd just rather use the other stuff because it's nicer. But we brought that out, and if you have Axalta in your shops, if you're shooting that brand paint, you can actually put Raptor on ColorNet and actually mix the product directly on it. So if you have an RO that you want to put out, it will populate it directly on there. Or if you had, one of the things that it becomes good with Ford trucks, for instance, are a prime example, and many others, but if you pull the bed back off a Ford truck to do some cab damage, for instance, you got to put 4 new bolts in it to hold the bed back because it's aluminum into steel. And at that point, you have these big, shiny bolts that do not look good, that maybe the truck had a bed liner. And without having to buy a kit or a bunch of product, you can mix up a small portion and with a little technique, match the exact texture that's in the bed and, have it go right through the insurance for the job. So you can mix the small portions that way. It is 50 state compliant, so it is a VOC version. We're not going to be shooting that tonight. We're going to be shooting our national rule, which is most of what we deal with.
Yeah.
The drums are the same way. We do have an anti-corrosive epoxy. Raptor is like any other urethane, is not designed to go over bare metal. So we're not putting it over bare metal. If we have little rub-throughs, we can use our etch primer. This is a unique product. We do make one that says Raptor because to keep continuity, but honestly, The Raptor's a little bit more expensive than this is, and it's the same product in the can. So if you have small rub-throughs, small bare metal spots, you can just treat them with an aerosol can. 10 minutes later, put the Raptor right over the top of it. If it's a larger area, epoxy far and away is the best option you can use.
How many times that we've started these classes have y'all heard epoxy? Every class in some way, shape, or form, haven't you? Because I really do preach that.
I do have a question. Speaking of touching up those bolts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is the adhesion promoter that you would use to go on the existing Raptor that's already there?
If there's Raptor there, all you really need is a red Scotch pad to rough it up a little bit, and the Raptor will bite it.
And it would adhere to itself?
Yes, it adheres to itself quite well. Okay. Now you can top coat it within 24 hours. You can put Raptor right over Raptor. Right. But an older version like you're talking about, you would just take a red Scotch-Brite pad and just rough the area that you're going to have product go to. Kind of like you would do a blend or anything else when you... It doesn't take a big scratch, but it'll bite itself with just dulling it down. And the red Scotch-Brite works well because it'll go into all the undulations on the way the texture is on those coatings. It's a good question.
What was that word you just said?
Undulations. You taught me that word.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm so old I forgot.
You taught me that a long time ago. I don't think you used it in that same.
I was going to say, can you spell that?
No.
No.
I need Microsoft Word to spell most of the stuff because I can't spell it. The reason we use epoxy, do you understand the whole point of epoxy? Again, I'm going to go off. I'm not going off.
Come on, make me proud, people. Come on.
Here's the deal. First of all, it locks a surface down, so you have nothing coming back up creating a problem, number one. On bare metal, when water gets on steel, what happens? It rusts, right? So if we have a situation, Raptor's not granite. If you drag something across Raptor, it's going to cut in, and it may cut in all the way down to the metal. Now, you're going to get, if you don't fix that, rain and whatnot, it's going to rust it. The beauty of epoxy is it locks the surface to a point that the rust won't creep under it and create a blister. If you just put a urethane type product or something that doesn't have that resistance, it'll creep under eventually and become a bigger and bigger and bigger thing that you're going to learn to hate and then have to redo it. But that's why we like epoxy, because epoxy can lock the surface and minimize any spot. That spot's going to rust, but it's not going to walk underneath and create a big blister under the job. Okay? So we like the epoxies. This new one, the biggest fallacy of epoxy is guys put 2-3 coats down. You need one cover coat with epoxy. That's it. There's no reason to put a bunch more on. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. You're not going to block and sand, because guys call me and say, boy, this epoxy doesn't feather out very good. Well, it's not supposed to. It's not what it's for. That's what high build primer's for. So use it the way it's supposed to be used, and you'll be very happy with what's going on. Okay. We make a traction that goes in it. In a lot of applications, you have heavy equipment. Somebody needs a step on it, and it may be wet or something along that line to keep them from killing their shins.
You guys from FES, that might be something y'all would be interested in. They build fire trucks. Yeah, and do a damn good job.
And that can be, Raptor can be rolled, brushed, or sprayed. It doesn't matter. The texture you can vary. We're going to do with spraying it. We can vary textures from very tiny to very heavy. When you roll it, you're stuck. We make a little roller kit, but if you're doing anything of size, I just tell folks get a 3/8 or a 1/4 inch nap roller that's designed for oils and water-based, because if you don't, the solvent from the Raptor will attack the glue and it'll unreel when you're rolling it out. and you're not going to be a happy camper at that point.
I mean, I got some painters that use that all the time. I mean, or at least that's what it looks like.
We used to have our own tints, which is what this is. Now, we discontinued them, but they are connected to a color coding called RAL,
Yep.
if you're familiar with that. You could get those. So if you like those colors, the RAL numbers are available. We can get them for you. So you know if you like, particularly we sold a ton of this basalt gray. I mean, that was the one that we sold a ton of. It was far and away the most popular one. The reds were good, but that one. So we can build it. We can still mix it. Larry could mix it for you.
But the custom colors is still probably one of the better highlights, I'm going to say. How many of you looked at the last Facebook post the other day that I done? Okay, there was the blue truck on there. Okay, that's actually Jason's truck. Okay, how good does that color of that bed liner match the truck? Looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? Yeah.
Now
and that was just mixing up the regular code, throwing it in there and going.
Since we're on that, it takes 3 ounces of mixed paint per can to tint it. Okay, it's kind of important. You don't want to go north of that, and base coat is far and away the best option to put in as a colorant. The biggest problem we have, sometimes folks you buy these kits, they're $160, $175, whatever the heck they end up being, and then buy the cheapest paint you can tint it with. And then what happens, you got a question? No. You buy the cheapest, what did you point? You giving her a hard time?
She was yawning.
Oh. I'm sorry. I know, I take that out of the room. But you want to use the best paint you can because we want to tint this thing. You got a can of opaque colorant. If you're mixing a color, we want you to leave any mixing bases, what do they call them? Binders, balancers.
Yeah.
You want to leave that out. We want straight pigment.
Yeah.
When you go to actually like if you were to mix on a color net, they use Raptor as what they call it
the binder. Yeah.
Because that's
so
it'll let the color down. And then I get calls all the time. Guys saying, "Well, I put 2 coats of I had red
wheat.
and I put 2 coats down. It's still pink."
So if you guys are buying any product like this from one of our stores, make sure if you're going to be adding color to it, or you getting them to make color to go in it, make sure they know exactly what you're doing so that they can suggest the right pigment load, is what we're going to call it, to go in there, because that's going to control the strength of the color.
The key is just use the best paint you can. If you really want it to look good and you want it to match, use the best paint you can. Beforehand, people would call and ask. I do me and one other guy do all the tech calls pretty much for all the Raptor that come in from all over the country. And one of the biggest problems is guys want to spray metallic. I want a metallic. Well, back in the days when we just had this garden hose to spray metallic out of, for you guys that have been around long enough that actually sprayed out of a Bink 7, which may not make sense to many of you, but you could try to get metallic and it would just model. It just moved everywhere and it looked horrible. I'm being recorded, so there would be another word I would use, but we're not going to go there tonight. But
he loves it. He loves editing.
Thanks to 3M, they come out with this little number, which is a pressurized setup. So now I have a normal spray gun, because you can't get Raptor even out of it. If you put a 2.0 on a gravity feed gun, you would get it out, but it would barely come out. It's very much like syrup, very heavy syrup. So this changes the game. I can actually have a 1.3 on this, and we're going to spray this tonight. So we could actually get product out of a 1.3 with this pressure setup. So if I wanted a very fine, even texture, I could get it. And if I wanted to use metallic, I could get it because this gun will atomize it. The other benefit of Raptor being in urethane, I can reduce it. So if you wanted it to stretch out and spray it out of a 2.0, You could reduce it actually up to 25% with a urethane grade reducer and virtually have no texture. You'll get the protection of Raptor, but you will not get any texture. So we can move that thing. So it has that capability to be able to be reduced and used.
When you say no texture, is that like a flat finish?
Flat.
Like a flat finish?
Yeah.
Flat finish. Almost like an ugly flat finish. you know,
It's going to have dimples.
it's going to have dimples,
Yeah.
but it's not going to have texture. So I don't know what you would call that. We have two guns that we offer. In our standard kits, we usually give away this Chinese gun. And I don't know how much longer we're going to give it away.
But that
'cause
will work. So you guys that are only going to do a bed liner every now and again or just one, that will do the job. Yeah, don't think that you got to get a neat, fancy gun just for that.
we have Raptor available in the aerosol can. It's a 2K. Have you ever seen these cans? If not, I got a cutaway that shows what you do. But it's actually got a activator load in the bottom. You would actually take a little red cap off of here, put it on the bottom, put it on a flat surface, depress it, allows the activator to interact with the product. You can shake it up and use it. We use this a lot when we're doing those bed bolts we were talking about. This takes a bit, because if I wanted to spray that can, I'd have to be about here, because it comes out like a garden hose. If you sprayed it like right here, it would just splash up on you. It comes out so strong. So you have to kind of get used to that. So distance changes the texture. This gun, we have distance and air pressure to change the texture. So I can get away from the surface, kick the air pressure up to 60, 65 PSI and make a smaller texture. But that's my adjustments. This gun has an adjustment here. So I can, especially, have any of you used Raptor before? Actually sprayed it? Yeah? Okay, so there's some of you that might understand this. But, you know, if you were doing push bars, let's say, you were doing some push bars. Before, if I took this gun here to spray a push bar that's that big around, I would,
Yeah,
3/4
exactly.
of the product's everywhere. And Raptor gets everywhere. It doesn't float, it lands on the ground. And then you step in it and it's sticky on your feet. It's really kind of exciting. But with this, I can turn the pressure off completely and then incrementally turn this open to get to 8 full turns is actually equal to that gun output. But I can make the pattern that big with a lower air pressure and actually paint those push bars and not waste a bunch of material. So it kind of helps out. So this is the next stage up. And again, it's not a very expensive
Also,
thing.
remember with those types of guns, the way that they're designed, they don't have the air horns on it, so the fluid itself is coming out in more of a rounded pattern. No
Yes.
matter how big it is, it's still a rounded
It's
pattern.
a round pattern, no matter what you do. It's a suction-fed setup is what it is. I've got it mounted on this PPS cup because this is the way I prefer to spray it anyway. Because it's just better and easier and
Yeah.
cleaner.
When you,
to
if
do
you're
this.
buying the kit just to do one, you'll have a setup like this, and that will just screw directly on the container.
And if you wanted to clean it, you got the pickup tube to clean. You got a bunch more to clean. With this, it's just off. You clean a couple pieces and it's ready to go again. And it, you don't have any product left in the can. Or, and again, if you understand suction, as this gun is emptying out of this can, air has to get back into the can, or else it won't spray anymore. So if I'm here with a full bottle, that will drip. And it'll get right where you don't want it to go. It's always the way the world works. It will never land where you can hide it. It's going to land where you're going to get to see it. And then you're going to hate that. So you have trouble here. And then when you've got this thing on here and you're this way, this is a straight pickup tube, just like that other. I'm not picking up the product on the bottom. With this, I can spray this to nothing. It's a good way to go. And most of the shops, I would assume you all have PPS cups of some kind.
A lot of them do,
So
yeah.
it works very, very well this way. You just have to get the adapters. Larry's got an in with the 3M guys, so he can probably get you free adapters.
Well, they help pay my check, so kind of in there.
What's the pot like once you introduce the activator?
Once the
Glad you
activator's
mentioned that.
in, if the can is full, and that's a good question, and it's, again, ambient is going to change these things, but it's probably got about an hour at 70 degrees.
At the most.
And then it's going to get thick and
Yeah.
not want to spray, and you're going to have, it's going to start to
If it's
move.
90, 100 degrees outside, or you're in the building there trying to spray this stuff, you'll mix one batch at the time. Don't dare mix it all at one time.
If you
'cause
have
it'll be locked up
someone
before
that
you
you're
use it.
working with, I usually, when I'm spraying, I have 2 cups going. Because I need to know, this can will do about 25 square feet. Now I say about because we can never know exactly. It's up to you how you spray it, but we're going to give it a ballpark of 25 square feet. So a kit's going to do 100 square feet. So you have to do the math before you get started to know you have enough product. Another problem, I get a lot of calls, I didn't have enough product. Okay, well, how am I going to do it? Because I painted it yesterday. That's when I have to go to the red scuff pad and tell them you're going to have to scuff it if it's been over 24 hours because it won't lock it down. Just less than, it'll bite it. So we just have to mix them. But I'll usually, if I know I'm going to use 4 bottles, and I could empty a bottle in, I don't know the timing, but I can tell you right now, what I do, if I do a vehicle or a bed or something along that line, I'm emptying that cup in probably 3-4 minutes. I mean, it comes out. It comes out like a garden hose. So have somebody mix one and then have a separate cup going. Give me the cup, and then they're filling the next one up and going the next one. That really makes it go because you don't want to stop, mix a bottle up, shake it. Because what happens, and it's just nature of us. We tell you to shake these cans once they're activated for 2 minutes. I can promise you 2 minutes is an eternity. I mean, you just shake it for 10 seconds. I mean, that's 10 seconds right there. So 2 minutes, you're going to say, by the time you're mixing and going, you're going to think, okay, that's 2 minutes. And then you're not going to have it mixed completely, and then you're going to call me and say, well, the product split, or it's not sticking, or it's not drying. Some are dry, some is not. It's just a matter of just knowing. You can put it on a shaker, but you can't clamp it down on a shaker. So you put it kind of tight, hang on to it, and it's going to be going like that, but you got to hang on to it, and then when it goes, you stop it, tighten it a little bit more, and go again. Then, and again, this is 3M's answer that helped us. We compete with 3M, so I'm showing you this because it does valuable things for Raptor. Very valuable things. So, but you have to buy, what's that?
Some of you with the body shops already are using the same gun to spray your chip guard. Okay, so you're using the same setup. You're just using it with a bigger cup.
Just get the biggest cup you can.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing a small job, if you're doing those bed bolts, then you can use a small cup. It doesn't matter. But you have to buy this piece here, which is the air valve. If you buy a straight gun, you have to buy this extra piece. Now, I've got the part numbers
I'll make
there.
you a deal
If
on
you
it,
don't know,
don't worry.
Larry can give them to you.
Whatever.
But I got them up on the
Everything's
board
free.
right
What the hell?
now. What? What?
Well, that piece of that, your regular active spray gun, is that what that's saying?
Yes.
Yes.
So your earlier active spray, that will check.
Yeah, if it's that same basic body, yes. All it's doing is taking that piece out, replacing it, and it'll have the port. At that point, if you're still using the gun where you don't need that port, you just turn the knob to off, and it still works normal.
This air valve will turn the air off, so you could use it. The old gun you were dedicated. I don't know if you ever had one, but it actually came out of the body of the gun, so you had to use it for pressure or not. But this one, you could actually turn it off and use it regular
The
gun.
one that I've been passing around the room, you'll see a little side knob on it that you can rotate,
Yeah,
and
if
that'll
you
cut
wanna
it on and
have
off.
a look
And you
at
can
that.
regulate that a
Pass
little
it
bit with how
around.
much pressure is going in the cup.
So, I don't know. Here's one of the other ones. I've been showing them to you. Maybe you should want to look at them. But you have to buy this part as well. And now they make 3 different sizes of this. If you decide to buy that and make this your gun, this tube, and this is a 3M guy taught me this, the tube is like this
It is.
long.
Cut it in half.
Cut the thing in half, set it aside. Trust me, you will make a mess of these. I use my gun,
Yeah.
so it gets sticky. So save it, and then you can have a backup. Okay?
What kind of pressure do you use to pressurize the cup?
There is no increment on it, and really that gate valve is almost on or off.
Yeah.
So even if you turn it a half a turn or a quarter of a turn or a whole turn, it's going to be the same amount of air. The only thing you really need to be careful of when you're finished with that gun, and you know what we usually do, turn the gun over, key it, just to let the bag drop back down. Don't aim that at anybody unless you pull that pressure off the side, because it'll shoot a stream, which I've got on me a couple times, because I forget to tell people. So be careful unless you want to piss somebody off, because you know that's going to happen to somebody that's not going to
That's
have
my job.
sense of humor like Larry. Just quick, a couple of things we do. This is just if you've ever flown on a small jet, that's just a walkway to get on the things. That's kind of some of the things we do. That's the type of texture you get with a roller. Actually, we do have an epoxy in a 2K can. That's what we use back there. So if you did want a small portion of epoxy, you can get it. We have that as activated as well. This lasts. This unit here, once you activate it, you got about an hour, maybe 2. This thing, you got 2 days or longer. So you can activate it and not be afraid of using it. And it'll tell you when it's no good anymore. This just speaks to the UV load that we talked about earlier. So, because the polyureas in Rhino and Line-X, if you're familiar with those, once they're done being sprayed, you can virtually use it because it dries so quickly. But it has no UV protection whatsoever. So it will fade immediately. Probably 6 months, it's gone. So it's just hard to work with. This is the epoxy I talked to you about. We have some in bulk up here, but 1,000-hour salt spray tests. These are the kind of things that, like I said, that's why we want epoxy. This is why we want it. So it really kind of speaks to it. We can, it does act as, one thing about epoxy is it works like an encapsulator for rust. So you don't need to remove every drop of rust. You need to scale off of there. But whenever you work with rust, if you ever look at it, you start sanding, and there's always a little bit of wisp there, and you're always worried about it. The thing about rust is if you take the oxygen away from it, and it can't get oxygen or moisture, rust is done. It can't grow anymore. It needs oxygen and moisture to grow. So if I lock that out, I'm never getting it again. That's why it won't creep underneath this stuff. But so this is more what we want. We can't have that. You know, the prep on the surface, 180 grit sandpaper. You want to sand it with 80, I tell people all the time, you want to sand it with 80, knock yourself out. But you are going to go through that paint in a minute, and you're going to use that much more primer.
Yeah.
180, I could pretty well almost prep a bed without getting into it, because
Yeah.
the OEM paints substrate, we can put it on without any problem at all.
So when we get to the back, there's everybody's seen the old Mustang I've been working on a little bit slowly for the owner of our company. Eventually I will bedliner the floor pans and inside of the trunk. I actually intended on having it ready to do tonight, but things got in the way. It's no different than doing inside of the bed of a truck. Okay, it is different than those metal panels in the regard that we had bare metal panels. They had to have epoxy on them. The inside of this car, no different than if you decided to do a bed liner inside the bed of your truck. You're not already starting with a bare metal part. You're already doing something that looks pretty decent now. So once you go and do all of your scuffing and your sanding and all that, you may only have a few bare metal areas to even contend with, and possibly not even any, okay? But on something like this car back here, by the time I do it, there will be a fair amount of bare metal.
Yeah.
Dealers just use red Scotch-Brite on new trucks. That's not enough, right?
For your ears only.
Should I shut the cameras off?
If you, I guess I'm on tape, I forgot. Back in the day, the instructions said to use a red scuff pad, which was fine. We sell probably, and I'm guessing at this, half of our sales are to DIY people. People never painted in their entire lives, and they're going to try to do their vehicle. Well, I tell them a red scuff pad, well, they're doing the entire thing with one pad. And that pad is
Well, them things cost a lot of money.
as we know, yeah. And as we know, it's not a good practice. So that's why we moved to 180, because we know you're going to put a scratch in it. So to answer your question, yes. I've painted many things with a red scuff pad only. Matter of fact, what we're painting tonight, we're going to have red scuff pad only on.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal, but it has to be
Thorough.
a thoroughly sanded area. I love the old 7447s. You remember that we hated them now because the new ones are so pliable and nice, but the old ones were just thick and
Like a brick.
yeah, they were like square and stayed square, but they're great. That's perfect for what you're talking about. It's an excellent way to prep a surface. Okay. Now, etch primer, we make a very specific etch primer. We can top coat this. Many etch primers, and trust me, this is probably one of the biggest complaints I get is people buy Rust-Oleum or Duplicolor or SEM or some other company's etch primer that doesn't neutralize, not designed to be top coated. Even says it on their instructions, do not top coat this. You have to put something between the etch primer and whatever you're going to put as a top coat. With ours, not a problem. We do it all the time, and it's designed for that. So if you want to do it, you can do it all day. Like one of our competitors, Sam, they specifically tell you, do not put their bed liner over their etch primer. They want another primer in between it. We don't have that problem. Okay, so quite easily, but ours only. No other companies. What you get usually is 9 mil. When I'm spraying anything, I'm always going to go 2 coats. Raptors, unlike paint, does not go on and flow. It just sticks. And I don't have my panel with me, but I've got one I did 1 coat on, because I'll have people call me up and say, I put your Raptor on my vehicle and it's rusting. And it's like
That
Raptors,
side of the hood is 1 coat.
well, you can see through it.
Yes.
You don't notice it. So moisture gets through those little tiny omissions, hits the surface, rusts it, and it rusts back out. Raptor can't rust. It's urethane. It's impossible. But try to tell someone that's never painted anything in their entire lives. I mean, I have people call me up. I want to do my vehicle. What do I got to do? You need to go to our TDS and read it thoroughly. Then you go watch some YouTube on our YouTube channel and then call me back. I'm not going to walk through the entire process with someone that knows nothing about what I'm doing. It's just ridiculous. Could you imagine that? So
Well, you're going to tell them words like omission, and they don't know
what I'll do
you're
is I'll
talking
put
about.
my first coat on to make sure I miss nothing. If you put Raptor heavy, anybody ever spray candy apples?
Oh, yeah.
Apple, okay. You know, when you do it, you have to walk a vehicle. When you're painting that thing, you got to walk it. Why? Because as you overlap it, it gets darker over the spots you've overlapped. So it looks like, again, I can't say it because I'm on tape, but it doesn't look good, okay? So Raptor is going to be the same way. Wherever you get it heavy, it's going to stay shinier than where you don't have it heavy. I don't worry about that on my first coat. I want my first coat to get on everything I need it on. I don't want it like super thick, but I don't care. Then what I'll do when I put my second coat on, I'll take my second coat and I'll actually take the gun and circle it like this when I throw my second coat over the top, and it evens everything out. So you have a good texture. And I'll even go as far as dropping the air pressure down to 10 psi where it's spitting, and I'll just throw that over the top so it really gives it a
Can you
look.
repeat that again?
No.
Oh. Do you sing a song while you're
But
doing that?
that's how I, this thing, and you'll still end up with about 18 mils of product. Now, one thing I've always been told, and I proved it with a guy just a couple weeks ago, if you look at a Rhino job or a Line-X job, and you look at the edges, it looks about that thick, right? Right? They purposely run that thickness right around the edge because they use a wire tape to cut it so it kicks off faster when they pull that, so it cuts it clean. But if you were to mic the outer edge, it might be, I don't know, let's say 25 mils. You go inside about 6 inches inside that, maybe 8, and you'll find you're right at about 18 mils, same amount of product we put on. So it's not that there's a stick over the whole thing, it's just that spot. So it looks like, oh my God, look how much product is on here, and it's not. So
What's the overlap?
you're working about the same. I don't.
Not
Yeah,
same.
I say 50%. We'll just go 50%.
Yeah. First coat, you're just going to pretend you're painting just a little further from the panel.
You're just getting there and you just paint it. However you do it, there's no right and wrong. It's just getting it on there and being even about how you do it. And usually, if I do a bed, which happens a lot, I'll crawl in that thing mainly because I'm fat and old. I don't want to get in this thing twice. So I'll get in there first, do everything from the back out, finish the tailgate, done. I'll wait and again, we recommend 60 minutes in between coats. Now that's, again, it's 68 to 70 degrees. So if it's 85, trust me, 30 minutes is usually going to get it. And then you can go, but I'll spray the rest of it from the outside. I don't ever get back in there again. Because the wear areas is where I want extra material, and I can hit the wheel wells and the floor easily from the outside. I'll do one side and then the other. But when I'm in there, I want to make sure I get up underneath the rails and everything else. You can use our adhesion promoter to get Raptor to stick to areas you cannot sand. And the way I know an area can't be sanded is you're not going to put anything to rub across it. So the adhesion promoter will work in that application because I'm not trying to get the floor to stick. I'm getting areas where I'm not even going to get close to. So everything else needs to be sanded and epoxied if that's the case. So you got to be careful there. All right, so again, good coverage, second coat, make it look pretty.
I do want to say, just because I know some of the things that certain people have done and I have seen, make sure you're using it in a very well ventilated area. You're not always going to have the opportunity to maybe use a paint booth, but if you're in an open shop or whatever, make sure it is vented or some type of air going through it. Because God help you if you got to go up inside of a box truck or something to have to spray the whole inside or something like that. better have some kind of fans rolling it, pushing air in to get air
yeah.
out.
Oh, yeah. You know, you want something on there. Fresh air is the best option, really. But, you know, a lot of times we're outside and doing things outside, so we're not as worried about it. You also, if you're going to put one in a booth, and you're not going to do a lot of them, get some magnets and put plastic sheeting up on the walls. Raptor will get everywhere. I mean, you know, I do a lot of training with tech schools, and I constantly have to be careful because I'll let them shoot the first coat on because I don't care what it looks like I said before. But I'll do the last coat because I'm connected to it and I don't want it to look horrible. So I'll do the second coat and I'll be spraying it, and notoriously someone's standing there. And I was like, dude, you can't stand there. It's going to get on you. I promise you, it will get to you.
Yes, it will.
Because it doesn't float, it falls. And I mean, my shoes, you know, come out of I wear those booties on there as long as I can because I don't want to build up on the bottom of my shoes. Because Raptor will stick where you don't want it to stick. It's like, you know, it's just like paint. It's like everything else. I want it here and it peels, and don't want it there and it doesn't come up. So put sheeting up and you'll be happy. This is what Raptor looks like when water sits on it within 72 hours of it being applied. Now, water can get on it, just get it off of there. But if it sits, you can see that's all water. It's very obvious. I had a guy send me this picture. This is why I'm showing it to you. And he said, there's something wrong with your Raptor. And I said, no, you put water. There's water on it. And he said, no, it didn't. And what do you say to that? Guess what? There's water on it. Well, what's going to happen? Well, if you wait about 3 or 4 months, it'll probably go away. I can't do that. Well, then put another coat on it. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, you scuff it and put it on there. But I don't want to buy more material. Well, you failed. Why is it my fault? Because you screwed it up. We plainly say on the tech sheet, don't let water sit on it for 72 hours. After that, you can put it underwater. I don't care what you do with it. This information is on our website. We do have 2 websites. We have one for U-Pole, and then we have one specific for Raptor. RaptorCoatings.com. It's on your books if you got the books. And that will have this information. It'll have that information on there. So you have a ballpark. You know, God forbid anybody ever does this before they call me and say, I want to paint this truck and how much do I need? They get a tape measure out and measure it, you know. But, I mean, I squeaked out of high school and I still know how to do square footage. So if I could do it, anybody could do it. I have a limited quantity. Matter of fact, I think there's 5 of
That's
this
limited.
Poster over there. And what we tell you here is basically option 1 is talking about air pressures and how we can get from coarse to fine and what air pressures it takes. Then this section here is for reduction. If you reduce it, what gun you could use, you know, 1.8, 1.7 gravity regular gun to get this kind of finer textures. And then option 3 dedicates itself to the 3M gun and how you can adjust it. But the tips, and this is only on the 2 O's. I have a company outside of Boiling Springs, South Carolina over there, and they do military vehicles. They have a bunch of, hundreds of these things, and they have to spray them with Raptor. They're spec'd to be shot with Raptor, this ugly green. So trying to find a texture that they were happy with, we ended up with at 12 PSI with a 1.3 to get them what they wanted. Now I had great transfer efficiency, and we were able.
So it was a tight one like this
done.
one.
Very tight like that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want it coarse, but they didn't want it like non-existent. So
Yeah.
we found a happy medium for it. So we also have what we call Head Start in our website. If you go there, there's a tab for Head Start, and there's videos and information on there that we created. If you care, we have it in French and Spanish. That poster has Spanish on the back side of it because that's necessary. Just to show you some of the vehicles that we've done with these. Actually, you familiar with Hendrick Motorsports? Any of you people, NASCAR fans? Hendrick Motorsports used to build all their own chassis, and they build chassis for many other teams. Well, now the new car they have, they don't build anything. So he turned that entire chassis program plus another 200,000 square feet into a facility where they build these military vehicles, and they use spec for Raptor inside those. But that's the kind of stuff that we do. Am I in your way? But this is a very popular one right here, because these things they look like crap. This is just to show color match. Can we get red? Yes. With good paint, we can make it red without a problem. Trucks, I've done a lot of pickup tow trucks with it. They really work well, this kind of thing on the side of dump trucks. Buses, I don't know if you guys do that, but buses, even for the sales guys, for options of where you might find companies. This is just a refurb. Raptor hides a lot of sins.
This is for the people who can't do paint and body work.
This is true. Raptor will seal concrete. There is no prep for concrete unless it's polished concrete. And it needs to be dry and no dust, and you can spray Raptor right on it. Same thing with wood. We do a lot of things in wood. This is kind of some of the stuff we paint at the airlines. A lot of marine. I get asked a lot if we can do underwater. The short answer is yes. The long answer is we don't have what's called non-fouling qualities in Raptor. So if it's salt water, you're going to have barnacles loving to go tack it.
So that's my next question. Can you apply anti-fouling paint
Over,
that?
yes, you can. Yes, I was just
It
going to
has
say.
to be applied in a certain number of hours?
Whatever, if you do it with our Raptor, I can tell you within from an hour to 24, you can put it over the top of it without having to do anything. Beyond that, you're going to have to scuff. And then, look at that, but we can do that. But we do a lot of top surfaces with them. Aluminum boats are massive business for us because they shuts them up. And if you've ever fished out of an aluminum boat without any sound deadening, you drop a lure in there and you might as well move because you've scared every fish for a half a mile. Sucks them up and it looks better, and it can handle gas and oil all day without getting attacked. Real easy to work with. Restorations, we talked about. Campers. I've actually done the roofs of campers. I don't own a camper, but I'm asked constantly if that coating that's on top of them can be coated. And I always was told no, but then like anything I do, I want to, if you tell me no, I don't believe you. So I'm going to do it myself. So I got some. This guy in Michigan actually sent me some. And I tested it. I tested it with epoxy. I tested it with our adhesion promoter. And then I tested it with nothing. Now I did use our waterborne cleaner and a red scuff pad to prep it. And it worked best with nothing, just Raptor. And it stuck like second skin, going nowhere. So we have that. People do weird stuff. Someone sent me this, and I had to put it on here. But they actually did their tub. This is done in white, and this is done in gray. My wife would kill me if I did that, because my house would stink for a month after we got done with that. But there it is. He said, I wanted you to see it, man. Look at this thing. Very excited about it. This
Don't have to clean as much.
Color match. You know, again, Raptor is duller than the actual finish, but you can see the color match is there. We have color match. Same thing there. Raptor being a urethane, because folks ask, can I top coat clear over it? So you can do that. But you could actually take clear and integrate it with the Raptor. especially if you have these cups, because you can mix your clear and activate your clear, take your Raptor, activate your Raptor, and put them together. And you can get a glossier. But I usually use that as a last coat because it's going to be a little more transparent than everything else. And it's not going to matter once I have my color down. But if you can do it that way. If you want it flat, the only chance you got is to top coat it with a matte finish clear. This is at Charlotte, actually at Concord. Some of the things people do with this product. I actually painted that thing. A freaking nightmare, but it worked out pretty good. This is actually Massachusetts Bay Transit Authority. They have it all on their floors, all over their stuff.
Sprayed or rolled?
It was rolled. Yeah, that's better. Actually, we have a lot of companies that do it on their mixing rooms.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're always dropping paint in your mixing room, and if you want it to look decent, you take some solvent, try to get it off, and you hurt the paint underneath. You don't hurt Raptor, so we can do it. It's just a gun safe. This is the dumbest thing on the planet, but I was with this guy when we did this. This is real. This is not fake. This is out of Greensboro, North Carolina, and they go to your house, and if your dog is creeped out because it's thunderstorming, they're gonna take care of your dog. You know, my dog, just give him half a tab of CBD gummy, and he's fine. He's out, happy. I'm not going to call these guys and do this, but we did it. That's the roof in this actually is Raptor that's been integrated with clear. You can see it doesn't have much texture, but it's pretty glossy. That's what he did there. And we do a lot of these swimming pools because it again go on concrete. All it was pressure washed, taped off, done. We do a ton of these things, and we even did this thing. We didn't do the whole pool because they would about fell over when we told them the quote on doing the pool. We did the last. I don't know. Have any of you ever been in this pool? This pool has got so much chlorine in it that your clothes would bleach out if you went in there with your clothes on. So they have to paint this pool every year because it eats up the paint they put in it. But they put Raptor on the last 8 feet coming out of the thing with traction in it. And when they drain the pool the first year, and again, it goes through the UV protection, and I always look at you and I'm sorry about that.
You done it. You done messed him up. I appreciate it.
But our color hadn't changed with all the chlorine, never bothered it. You know, and the workers were like, could you do the whole pool? And the bosses said, no. We're not doing the whole freaking pool. Sorry, not happening. But I've worked with Disney. I've worked with, there's Raptor, and there's a,
I feel like I work with Disney.
Studios has a Star Wars thing. I don't know if any of you had the pleasure of going there. Have you? I was there when they were building it. This Raptor is done in a lot of that, and you go there, and if you got to have a lot of money to stay there, but you can dress up like a Star Wars guy and hang out and lightsaber.
Yeah, we really needed to visualize that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is the Head Start tab that I told you about earlier. So, you have any questions? Did I miss something, Larry? Did I get it?
Yeah.
No.
They just want to go spray. We're going to load up.
What's that? Well, if it's metal, you can, yeah. Yeah. If it's, regular tar tiles, no. But if it's metal, yeah, absolutely. We do a lot of that. It's not cheap. It's an expensive process, but it'll last way longer than anything else you'd put on there. The prep is what scares people to death. Is if you don't have good prep, nothing sticks to something with bad prep.
get that defined line across the top of the tailgate or over the rail. That distinct and straight cut line.
You mean like where
The cutoff.
the top of the tailgate's not painted and the
Yeah.
Raptor, that line? What I usually do, it's a good question, and that's something I forgot.
Sometimes you see it over the rail, and then it's that defined line down through there between the paint
As
and.
long as you use good automotive tape, and as much as I hate green 3M tape, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I hate the
Hey,
stuff.
I'm right here.
I like the yellow. I'm not picking on the tape. I'm picking on the green. I don't like it because it doesn't, but it's great for that application. When you're done with Raptor, you put your first coat on, you waited your hour, you put your second coat on. I'll usually, if I want a nice, crisp, rolled edge, I'll pull the tape within about 15 minutes. And that Raptor's still soft enough that when I pull back, that piece falls down. I don't have a sharp edge. Now, if you wait 20 minutes, 45 minutes, you don't want to wait too long because you'll never get the stupid stuff off of there because it'll bridge over that tape and, you know, we don't have the wire in this thing, so you're going to be there with a razor blade and cussing the whole time trying to get the tape to come up because the Raptor's over it. But if you
They'll just
pull
be
it later,
saying
it's
your
going to be
name.
a sharper, more jagged edge. But if you pull it early, just got to be careful because the whole thing's wet. So if you start pulling it and allow it to fall back into what's there, you're going to make a mess. And you're going to get it all over yourself too. So you got to be careful.
So, would you recommend wire tape or something with an embedded?
It really wouldn't work great for Raptor because of the way it's designed. You could. If you felt like leaving it on there for an hour and then come back with the wire tape, yeah, you could use it.
But I wouldn't see
just
it
not
being,
having to
as
use
many
it.
years as I've used it, much of it as I
You ever
sprayed,
use wire
I've never
tape?
felt like I needed it.
Have you ever used it?
Only in semen.
It's annoying to use. It's not real easy to lay down straight.
Straight, yeah.
And so you sometimes get that with it because it's wire. And you start, when you get to the bottom of the rolls, it really gets exciting. Like anything. Yeah, and it wants to pop off. But could you use it? Yeah, I'd just rather just use a good automotive tape and pull it within like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes after I finish if I'm not worried about a nice crisp edge. If I want that crisp edge, you're just going to have to pull everything else off and pull it at a 90 and be very careful. And you know, taping is an art form. You know, I've worked with people that don't understand how to tape. You should be able to tape and pull the tape in 6 pieces at one time. But they'll put one over the top here and then one under there. So you're pulling little pieces of it all the time. It drives me crazy. But I'm easily driven crazy. But that's all the old fat guy wisdom I have for you tonight.
If you happen to get it on yourself, how do you get it off?
Just thinner, lacquer thinner.
Quick as possible.
I mean, it'll come off. I get it on me and it's there. It'll wear off of it. It ain't like POR 15 if you've ever gotten that on yourself. Because that's brutal to get off. It's impossible. You just have to wear it off because you can rip your skin, but you'd rather not. It hurts. Now, if you looked at, did y'all look at these panels? That's all the epoxy we need. We don't need it 4 coats, 2 coats, 3 coats, 1 coat. That's it. Just make sure it covers.
The only reason that I went ahead and prepped those and put the epoxy on there was so that it would have the proper dry time before you guys got here to spray it, because you wouldn't want to wait that length
I'm just
of
going to
time.
spray this one. Sorry, boss.
I want everybody to try to take a glance inside of this poor old Mustang over here. When we talk about prep work, this is a lot worse than what you're going to get out of a normal pickup truck bed. But what we were talking about was we use it for all types of things. So when this vehicle, by the time it's done, all of those floors inside the trunk and all will be bed linered the color that the car is going to be painted. Okay? It'll just look a lot neater. even though it's going to be covered up with carpet, everything else, it's just going to be sealed up a lot better. So you'll have to get in there and do a lot of sanding. A lot of it, you can see how it's shaped. A lot of it's going to be by hand. The little brush thing that he was talking about that goes on the buffer, you'll use it at a low speed, and you're going to roll that thing all in everywhere, because believe me, you don't want to hand sand any of it that you don't have to. Okay, it's a job. But you'll see that there's a limited amount of bare metal that is showing now. By the time it's actually prepped, you'll see a little more. If it's already a good foundation, if you look at it and it's peeling from where it's been painted on before and that kind of thing, then yeah, you'll want to take a lot more of it off. All right, what we're going to do is let's get about 4, 5, 6 of you in there. All right, so one time.
That far away. Just come up to about right here. Just go up.
It ain't gonna hurt it. Go over it again. Move faster and back off.
Tilt the gun.
That's a fire hose.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Put a little more right there. All right. Good. From here to here.
Yeah, just rotate your hand up when you get up to here, this way. Yep.
All right, come down. Finish.
All right, guys. Looks like we've done another one.
A good one. Thanks,
Hey,
Larry.
man, I really appreciate you coming out, dude. Always been a great friend.
My pleasure.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed it.
Everybody, I hope everybody liked everything. Hope you had a good time. Let's do it again later.
I had
Thanks.
a great time, Larry. I appreciate you being there. Showing me how
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, man.